Hi, everyone. Welcome to our mid Staple Sock Knit Along live stream. I really hope you can hear me. So if you can't, please let me know. And if there's any, you know, technical issues along the way, please let me know. Um, but I have a good little agenda for us here today. So I hope that you are here with your knit along whip, your sock, your staple sock. Okay, good. Thank you, Storm Phoenix. Audio is fine. Bless you. I hope you have a fun beverage. For me, I've got the remains of my coffee this morning. Um, and I hope you come with some questions or talking points. We're here to chat about anything sock related or anything knitting related if we really want to get to it. Um, so if you are here joining me live, I already see a couple of people saying hi, hello. Um, Go on and comment team live, hashtag team live. If you are joining us for the replay, we are so happy to have you. You can comment hashtag team replay. So hi, Disa. Hi, Deborah. Again, hi, Storm Phoenix. Hi, Katie. Good morning. So here's what we got going on today. Um, we are looking at some project updates. So I'm going to share a little bit about how my socks are going. I've had to actually do a couple of troubleshooting things. I've got some updates for you there. And I'm going to go over some of where you guys are at. So feel free to comment in the chat here where you're at, any issues that you've had along the way, and we can kind of chat about it. And I also plan on hopping into the Discord and just showing some of the progress pics that have been going on. Because they've all been looking so cool. And I'm so happy to be seeing all of those photos roll in. So after that, we're going to be talking questions, troubleshooting, chatting about sock knitting, wherever the wind blows us there. And so if you have questions as well, feel free to drop them in the chat. We can go over them. Then I want to talk about prize entry info because there's been a little bit of an update there, which is good. It's a good update. And some prizes have actually been mailed in to me since we last chatted. So I was going to just show them on camera for you because I was like so excited to. I want to keep these prizes. That's what I'm going to say for now. So I'll show those off, and then we'll chat about what's coming next. So hi, everyone. Seeing everyone say hello. It's so nice to see you. So let's get started with some project updates. So for me, I've got two socks going on, right? So I've been slowly but surely getting these tutorial videos out. And to help with filming the tutorials, I've had kind of two socks going at once. That way, when I'm filming, I can show, say, like the beginning part of a progress and then the end, or I can like work up, say, right now. My goal was for the next couple of videos, we've got the toe stitches tutorial coming up showing how to divide the stitches for the toe, starting your decreases there, and then also doing the Kitchener stitch, right? So my goal was for one sock to get up to the toe stitches, and then for the other sock, get up to the part where I need to do the Kitchener stitch. So that way I could film them both at once. But there's been a little snag. So this is where both of my socks are at. So I've got one here, and this one is ready for the toe stitches. This one has been zooming right along, but actually, I lied. It hasn't been zooming right along because for both, after I filmed the heel stitches tutorial, I was trying them on and I realized my instep measurement was off a little bit, you know? So I went back, I tinked back on both to before the heel, and I ended up taking off about, I think the original number I had to increase was about 14 times. Like I had to do 14 increase rounds, and I decreased it, I believe, to 11. And, I actually haven't made a pair of staple socks for myself in like, it's got to be over a year at this point, right? And I don't know if I pulled the wrong measurement from a different thing because I've made gift socks for like my mom and stuff. So I don't know if I pulled the wrong measurement for my instep or what was going on, or if I just measured it incorrectly in the past. So basically, what I did was I took that measurement from another staple sock pattern I had made and used that, remeasured, and I measured this time really tightly across my instep because basically what was happening was I noticed that I had a little bit of extra room around the heel when I put it on my foot. So yeah, I tinked back on both, and now they are both fitting super, super well around the instep and the heel. So just a little reminder, like, you know, I'm not over here doing anything perfectly. And I know that a number of you have had to do some troubleshooting with your measurements and stuff. And I just want to say that's part of the process. So for me, this is definitely a learning lesson. Like I've saved those measurements and now I know what fits and what works. So we can move forward with that lesson being learned. So yeah, so this one's ready for the toe, which is really exciting. This one, I just finished doing the heel and I am now working towards now I'm working the decreases, almost done with the decreases, almost ready to get to the foot. And the reason why this one has been so delayed because legitimately, I don't know, some of you have probably been in the Discord, and if you saw, my dog messed me up. So basically what had happened was um I went and had a fun pool day where I was knitting my socks with my friend Jill, who's also in this knit along, super sweet. Um, and I had, my whip and stuff in my tote bag. And the thing is when Emma, she's the German Shepherd, Belgian Malinois mix. So she's too smart, I will say, and she knows what to do to get my attention. So if she is not getting the attention she wants, right? Then she knows what to do. And what to do is to go find my knitting. So basically I came back from this pool day and she needed a walk basically, and so I was kind of just like getting myself situated and everything, and I'm in the other room and I hear jingling, and when I hear jingling that means she's doing something she shouldn't. I just know it's like a spidey sense. It's like her collars are jingling. I'm like, something's going on, so I rush out, and she had pulled my knitting out of my tote bag, and luckily she doesn't like destroy the project. She doesn't like knit. What she does is she takes my yarn and my skein, which is usually what it's like a good cake, and she just uses her little rounded little teeth and she just pulls and pulls and pulls. And so this was once a beautiful cake, and it took me 2 days to put it into this ball of yarn. Um, so instead of coming home from my day job and knitting, I was undoing that massive knot. So that pushed back this sock a little bit, the little bugger. And that happens, I want to say, at least like once a project. And I have to say, like, I put things away. Like, they're not just sitting out. I've learned my lesson there. But she goes and searches it out. It's just, oh my goodness. So, anywho, that's where my sock's at the moment. And now I wanted to talk a little bit and show off your guys's stuff. So I'm gonna pull up the Discord here, and we're gonna just kind of scroll through some of the progress pics. So I hope if you want, if you're like in the Discord and you like want to share your stuff, go on and share it, and we can. I'll probably be able to show it too. Let me see if I can get the right. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I just scrolled up here. This is to 7/9, so this is just a few days ago. I'm gonna keep scrolling up because there's been like so many cool progress pics. But also, this is a great reminder that if you are not in the Discord right now or yet, it's not too late to hop in. It's really, really fun, and it's a great resource if you have questions. Um, People are really good at responding if they know the answer, or I'll hop in and give you an answer. But also just sharing like where you're at, it's just been so sweet to see the support. So um let's start around here. So I just there's another photo of this coming down, but I love this person ended up doing like a little color contrast rolled top to her ribbing. Absolutely love. That's so creative and that's so fun and it looks so darling. And there's a further update down the line. This one, absolutely love the colors. Um, and the ribbed cuff or folded cuff here looks so clean. The tension looks awesome. And I just love this yarn with the color contrast. It looks so cool. Someone else here says that their yarn finally came in. They just finished their folded cuff and it looks so dang cute. How sweet is that? I'm so proud of how it came out. You should be, honestly. Vannon, sorry if I'm pronouncing her name incorrectly, but she is like an OG test knitter for me. I think she did the staple tea knit along too. Like she's been in my little orbit here. We've been in each other's orbit, I should say, for a while. And so I'm so happy she joined the Stable Sock Knit Along. And I'm obsessed with this yarn that she's using. It's like I don't know, it's got an interesting twist and definition to it. It's so pretty, and it looks like your sock's coming along really well. I also just love the colors to it. So pretty. I also really love this color combo. Um, I'm curious what yarn this is actually because I love a good dusty pink paired with an orange and also this cream. Like I'm always kind of looking out for sock yarn like that. One thing I'll say for me is that I've been really learning the past few years of what I really like to wear and like what I pair with most outfits. So like I'm just gonna hop back over to me for a sec. Um so when it comes to wearing outfits, and wearing socks in particular, it's one area where I've been like experimenting with what colors I like to wear in general. So I have purchased like packs of socks with different colors, and this is a great way for me to figure out what colors I gravitate to the most. And so I've been using that information to figure out what sock color I like, what colors in general I tend to gravitate towards. It's almost like a little way to test the palette. And so for me, I've been gravitating more towards I love a little pop of a dusty rose pink, a good like sagey green, but not I don't like pastels. Um, and good blues, but not like too harsh a blue, but also not really navy, and kind of like an orangey rusty brown. So those are the colors I've been gravitating to a lot, and that's just a good little tip if anyone's like, "I don't know what color to knit my socks, will I wear them?" Like, one of the biggest parts of wearing what you knit is knowing what color that you'll actually like to wear. So that's just a fun little tip, that I have found to be working for myself in terms of finding what colors work. Anyway, back to this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I love these colors and I would totally wear this sock. Um, oh my gosh, B Rex has got both socks done, blocked, and ready to wear, and she's already started another sock, or they've already started another sock. How cool. I love the little pop of orange here. That is so creative. I really want to get better at like figuring out how to work in little creative elements like that. I think Summer Lee Knits, who I've mentioned before, does a really good job of doing that. And I know she has a book on like color, and I think in particular with socks, that I really want to check out because I mean, V Rex doesn't need that. I really want to be better at that. That's really cool. Someone else has their first socks ever done and they look awesome. Look at that little folded cuff. I like that they also went for more of an ankle size just for their first sock, so that way they're able to kind of work through it quickly. Very good job, Angela. Don't look too closely at my tension right after I zoom in, right? Katie Lou, let's see. The yarns for the pink and orange stripes is KNC Sock Star and Pinky Peach Pop. Bless you. Awesome. I'm gonna be looking it up. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, this one we shared earlier. It looks like she made more progress. I think that's one we shared earlier. Maybe it was a different pop of orange actually that I shared. Um, Oh no, turns out their converted measurements were too big and now they have to redo everything when their stuff looks so good. I feel like someone else suggested this later on in the chat, but I mean, I know you want the socks for yourself, but if you don't want a frog and redo, you could always gift those socks as well if they fit someone else. Yeah, so we've just got tons and tons of awesome progress photos in here. The fit is looking mwah on these. What else we got? I'm just gonna kind of scroll through a little quickly. Oh, this one blew my mind. I think this is actually, I think what they shared in the chat is this is from Summerlee's color work. It's like a little color work chart from Summerlee Knits. And I love that they put it into their staple sock, right? Like the way they did it is so perfect. Um, I am gonna probably do that down the road because that's just so cute. This person got sock yarn to match their cat, and it's perfect. Um, I love this reminds me of those sock monkeys. Perfect. Let's see. I'm just gonna keep going. More stripes. Really love the color contrast here. Reminds me of fire. And I wanted to show one more in particular, although I mean, I would love to show all of these, but this is the one that they did a rolled cuff here, and then they did a little color work in there too with this little stripe, and it's so dang sweet. I just love how creative, and that's the thing too, with this sock pattern. Oh, um, is you gotta love a vanilla sock. That's like a basic sock pattern. Um, And because you can infuse really whatever fun little creative element that you want within it. You can make it your own in so many ways. Like for me, I mean, this is very limited creativity compared to some of the stuff I just showed you. But for me, I'm doing my longer cuff. I believe I did 2 and a half maybe inches for my cuff, but did it more of an ankle length or not ankle length, but I only did like 5 rows for the body and I just think that the fit is gonna look really good. Now, mind you, like, this isn't what's recommended in the pattern at all in terms of, for crew or whatever socks, but I just thought it would look cute. So, even little things like that, you can really make the sock pattern your own. And even though it is basically it's a basic sock pattern that you can use again and again, as you can see here, to really make whatever you want. And also for whoever you want. I mean, I've seen people make them for kids too, and I know some people are going to in the knit along, which would be really cute to see. Um, but I really hope that everyone here, if you enjoy the sock pattern, you keep using it and really get your money's worth out of it because the options are endless in terms of what you can do with it. Um, Ava says that she loves being able to have better numbers for myself to apply to other sock patterns too. That's a really good point. Whether honestly, whether it's your gauge that you know, like moving forward, but also just your measurements, so you know what size works best for you. That's a really good point. Um, cool. Okay, so again, there's tons in the Discord in terms of progress pics. I could go all day in there. But if you want, please feel free to hop on in there if you're not already. Scroll through the progress pics if you haven't lately, because they're really inspiring and it's just so cool to see the different like it makes you just want to knit more socks. It's very cool. Um, so we'll move on though, in the sake of time, I guess. Um, to talking about some questions. So if you have any questions about socks, about knitting in general that have come up for you during this knit along, feel free to drop them in the chat. Um, I was going to go over a little bit of some of the questions I've been seeing popping up in the chat, in the Discord, and giving some tips on those questions just for those of you who are going to be moving, well, for the next stage. Okay, so basically, one that popped up in the Discord super recently, I think it was last night, was is anyone else scared of doing the heel? And there was a lot of responses to that. Some saying, yes, I am. um, others saying like, "I was, but I did it and it was fine." So that's encouraging. I've heard that this sock pattern, for those who have tried doing German short row heels in the past or have never done them, have really found that this pattern explains it really well. Which, not to toot my own horn, but basically I do break it down step by step. And my biggest tip for getting through it is just following the directions step by step. Now, the tutorial that's coming out for the heel should be out soon. I'm waiting on my assistant to finish up the final touches. Um, and I might have a round of edits for her. So ideally, it should be out in the next couple days. And again, I am so sorry for the delay on that because obviously I wanted these done before, but between my assistant, she was sick, unfortunately. So that kind of set us back a little bit. And also, I had a recording snafu, which I explained in the email to you. Not going to go over it again here, but basically, it set me back about a week in terms of getting the heel tutorial out for you. So I'm so sorry about that. But um, when it comes to doing the heel, even if you are about to approach it and you're like, Jeanette, I cannot wait for your tutorial because we've got a deadline here. Totally fair. So what you can do is just take it step by step in the pattern. Also, there is an existing like video resource link in the pattern in the technique section that is helpful and might be able to answer some questions that you might be having. Or if you're like, I have no idea to even like how does this even work, right? Like sometimes for me, I know that I need to have like an idea of what to do before getting started, and just looking at the pattern can be a bit too much. So, what I recommend doing if you're feeling that way is take a look at the video resource in the pattern and just get an idea of what you'll be doing, right? And it does have good tips on how to do your heel. So, if you're feeling scared, go there, read through the pattern, and you can totally do this. Just know that there have been others that have come before you who have passed through this part of the journey with success. So, find comfort in that. Um, and oh, I just saw Jill join. Jill, I was just sharing. Hi, Jill. I was sharing earlier about how we had a fun pool day, and I came home and I had my knitting in my tote bag, and I was kind of like getting myself situated. And Emma really wanted a walk, and she like destroyed my cake of yarn, and it took me 2 days to untangle. Um, anyway, little fun note there. Um, So when it comes to doing the heel, a couple of questions, specific questions that have popped up in the chat that might be helpful for you is one, there is a rounding error in the pattern. So if you get to, let me see if I'll share this with you. Yeah. So if you get to this part of the pattern right here, okay, and mind you, I'm looking at this in Google. Do not do this. It was just for ease of sharing. But you want to open it in Adobe Reader. But right here, you'll see I have this number 14.7. And down here, it tells you if you get a whole number, if you get a number ending in point 0.3, if you get a number ending in point 0.6. And it's like, what do I do with a 0.7? That's a rounding error. So if you get a 0.7, just know that you'll be going down here to 0.6. I also want to note there's another little area that has caused a little bit of confusion, and it's for the second part of the German short row heel. So it starts out by saying for the second part of the heel, only work the stitches between the SM, sorry for the highlighting issue, but for only work the stitches between the SM and the beginning of round marker. So basically when you end up here at the end of step 7, you should be at your beginning of round marker at the end of that. And then to get to the second part of the heel, what you're going to do is knit over to SM and then start with step 1. So sorry if there's any confusion there, but I hope that helps to save some of you any confusion. Okay, let me go back to me. Also, yes, so one other issue I've seen come up is people having some concern about gaps in the heel area, especially if you are doing color changes. So if you are doing color changes, let me also say that you will be breaking your yarn a bit. So you'll have a few different loose strands. So actually, you know what? Let me pull up the pattern again. And so right here, like when you are getting to this part in particular, like actually, you know what? When you start, you start at Bourne, you work your way over to SM, and you're starting your heel stitches at the very beginning. If you're doing a color contrast, you're going to break your yarn at the stitch marker here. And then you're going to work the first part of your heel back and forth until you get to this step 7, where you have to knit a whole round. And during that part, when you're knitting that whole round, you'll be breaking your yarn again so that you can use your main color, color A, across the top of the sock. So you want to make sure you're only using your contrast color in the heel section here. And then when you're done with the second part of the heel, obviously you're going to have to change back to your main color. So there's a few yarn breaks there. And just know that that's normal. So you'll have a number of loose ends at the end, which I know isn't everyone's favorite, but it's actually kind of a blessing in disguise, because what we do then is we tighten up any knots. So I kind of explained my favorite method for switching colors, and it just involves knots. It's very simple. But if those knots get loosened in the process, whatever, at the end, we'll be strategically weaving in these ends. So you tighten up your knots and you weave in your ends to close up any gaps. So they actually kind of come in handy at the end as well. And you might notice, even for those of you who are not changing colors for the heel, you might have a similar issue with some gaps, especially around where the heel, and this is where the gaps are the most prevalent. It's where the heel meets kind of like the top of the foot section. And you can see here, I have a gap. So what I'm gonna do at the end is weave in my ends to close that up. And I kind of got one a little bit over here too. It's not as bad on, oops, sorry. It's not about it on this side, but still something I might want to close up a bit more. And I also will have a tutorial at the end for how to weave in your ends strategically, to really help make sure that your socks are finished nicely. And so just be aware of that, that it's totally normal to have to break your yarn a lot. If there's any gaps, we'll fix it. Don't stress. Oh, another question that came up in the chat was, I think it was one person in particular, but I'm sure more people are having this issue. I remember I've gotten this question before, but basically, this is where you can see I've like turned. This is over here. This is where I've turned the heel. And this is basically where I've been knitting and making my double stitches, right? And some people have an issue with getting like a large gaps in that section. Um, and again, you can weave in your ends there, but it's a little tricky. It might not look as good if you have all gaps there, right? And then you have to go and weave in your ends. I think it can be done, but it's best to avoid that situation. And to avoid that situation, I recommend like the best way to prevent that is to really pull your working yarn tight when you are working your double stitches. So just make sure you're pulling that up, getting rid of any extra slack, pulling your double stitches up. Um, sorry. Make sure you're pulling your working yarn really taut when you're working those double stitches, and that should help to prevent those gaps. And same thing, if you're working your increases or decreases and you notice gaps around those, then really try to pull your working yarn tight when you are making them, and that should really help to tighten things up. Oh, and then lastly, just kind of looking ahead, for the toe section. So for those of you who are getting to the toe here soon, and maybe before I put out the tutorial, um, I just kind of wanted to give you all a heads up. And so let me share the pattern one more time. So the toe section can be an area of confusion, but basically, the best notes I have for setting you up for success is, Sorry, I don't know why this extra camera is here. But we will leave it. Um, but basically, you'll want to just pay attention to these instructions here. Sorry, that is not highlighting well. Um, but basically, what happens is after you, let me get this. Here we go. After you work your foot, you're going to obviously then start the toe. But the thing is that decreased stitches, where our decreased stitches and like our stitch markers have been, so where SM and BORM are, isn't necessarily on the equal side. Like, let me get the foot model out. Um, but it might not be like equal to the sides of your foot. It might be a little bit lower, like underneath. It might be a little bit on top. And what we really want to do is get them equal on, the exact sides of your foot. So these instructions are to help you just adjust your stitch markers, so you have an equal number of stitches between them. Okay. So when you are working the toe, you should be starting out with your foot stitches. So in this example, let's say 86. And then you're going to be decreasing until you get a total of 22 stitches on your needles, which means for this example that you would have 11 stitches on the top part, so between BORM and SM, and then 11 more stitches on the bottom between SM and BORM, if that makes sense. Um, and I believe you shouldn't experience any rounding issues. I think those were all tested out of the pattern. If you do experience any, let me know. But you should be able to decrease them as you need to without having to make any adjustments to get to these numbers. So just as a heads up, because there was a question on that that we cleared up in the Discord. So just wanted to give you a heads up there that that's what it means by a total of 22 stitches on your needle. That would mean 11 on the top and 11 on the bottom. So just to clarify that. Okay. And let me just check our chat here. I don't think any questions have popped up, which is totally fair because I think most people just kind of ask them in the Discord as we go, which is perfect. But let me just scroll. Yeah, okay. So I don't think we have any additional questions. Cool. Let me move on to talking about prize info. So, I sent out an email recently and I mentioned this in the chat. But basically, I do not want to miss anyone's prize information, any entry, whether it's their main entry of finishing your socks and having a photo of that, or of the bonus entries, which are to share it on Instagram and to create a Ravelry project. I don't want to miss it. Okay. I want to make sure that y'all get all the entries you deserve when it comes to doing the prize selection. So, in order to fix that and just make sure that I don't miss any, I created a prize submission form. So, I put it in the link in the description, like right before we started this call. So, if it's not updated, I'll make sure right after. But it's also, again, in the Discord, sent it out via email, and I'll be continuing to send it as a little reminder to make it easy to locate. Okay. Um, so with that, in order to have all the prize info I need before we do the final live stream on the 25th, uh, the prize submission form is due by end of day, July 24th. So ideally 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just make sure you have that prize form submitted by that time. So I can then basically, I'll be on the morning of the 25th, taking all of those entries and plugging them into a like little spin wheel thing so we can do prize selection. And how that's going to work is basically like I'll kind of keep track of the order people are selected as winners, and I'll be contacting them in order that they are selected. And that way, so the person who gets selected as the very first person, they will get the first chance, they'll get the first opportunity to choose whatever prize they want. And then the second person will get to choose out of the remaining prizes, and so on and so on. So that's how the prize selection works. And we'll be doing that live on the July 25th live stream. So don't miss it. I'm hoping that we'll have winners live in the live stream. That would be so fun. Um, but yeah, and then also I just wanted to share that some of the prizes have been mailed to me. Um, so I just wanted to share them, like since we last chatted. So I just wanted to share them on camera with you. One of them is this skein of yarn from Blush Fiber Co. And it is bubblegum graffiti, which I think is like her top. Sorry, my face is in the way. I think it's her top selling or one of her most popular colorways, and it is so pretty. I love the pop of color, I love the white, I love having a little bit of black in there, like, it just seems like a good balance of color, and it also just looks so, so fun. So that's one of the prizes, along with so one lucky winner will win this, along with this cute little sketch set of 3 stitch markers, which are 3 flower stitch markers. I think they're her oil slick stitch markers, she calls them. And so, yeah, so one lucky prize winner will get both of these. Another prize, actually 3 different prize winners will be getting a set of watermelon sock yarn. So we've got 3 that were shipped to us. And this is from D19 Eco-Friendly Life. She's a Ukrainian yarn dyer and sock designer in particular. And these are so cool. Like in the if you look up her stuff, I've got it linked in the main knit along page, which should be in the description. And the way these work up is so pretty. Like the pink section has little bits of like darker pink within, or like little bits of black. Actually, I wonder if you can kind of see. There's one right there. But basically, it looks like seeds. Like it looks so realistic. And like after the green, there's a little bit of white to really look like a rind of a watermelon. And after seeing like, I mean, I love these when I first saw them online, but after seeing them in person, I'm like, I wish I had asked her for an extra set for me. Like, they're just so dang cute, and I want a pair of watermelon socks now. So anyway, that's 3 prize winners, okay? And then this one I've already had. I've had these in my stash for a while. I got them as part of, like, I think it was back when Knit Crate was a thing, um, and basically it was a yarn box subscription thing. So anyway, I got these in that, and I was gifted that through that. And I've had it in my stash for forever. It's from Expression Fiber Arts, which is a really big kind of like they have a bunch of different colorways that are really pretty. And yeah, like anyway, I've had these in my stash. And it's interesting because I love blues and greens, like those are my go-to, but I just have a feeling like when it comes to socks, like I don't think I'll wear these often. And I think that that's why I haven't knitted up yet. Also, it comes with like this little sock mini fur color contrast. Um, so yeah, I just haven't knitted up and I'm like, you know what? It shouldn't be taking up space in my stash. But I don't plan on knitting it. So someone else, hopefully it finds a good home where someone else enjoys it. So this is another prize. And then we've got other prizes that aren't going to be physically here in my home before the prize winner gets them. For instance, like one person will get up to $125 of a knitting needle set of their choice. Now, that could be like if you have a knitting needle set in mind, like whoever wins, and it's worth more than that, I'm happy to like give a gift card of $125. Or if one is less than that, I can just purchase it, get it shipped right to you, but it will depend on what that winner would like. And so that's a great prize, which I would also love. Similar kind of thing, not really, but like basically one of the prizes is going to be a set of sock blockers. I think they're the Knit Pro Aqua sock blockers. that I'm just gonna have shipped directly to the winner when that gets chosen. Um, but yeah, if you wanna go through the full list of prizes, you can find it on the Knit Along, like, landing page. Again, it should be linked in the description below. If not, I'll add it after this. And you can look through all the prizes, just get a little hyped for it. So, with that being said, let's talk about what's coming up next. We've got a few more pre recorded tutorials coming out, as I was mentioning. And I know I wanted these out like a week ago. So, bear with me, but maybe they'll be helpful for when you're at the stage that you're at. Um, so, for instance, we've got the toe stitches tutorial coming up, Kitchener stitch tutorial, and then a weaving and ends, kind of finishing your sock tutorial coming up. And those ideally will be out within the next week, if not really the following week for that weaving and ends tutorial. And then our last live stream is July 25th. So that's when we will be doing the prize selection, and it will be really fun. And I hope to see you all there. And we'll be looking at a lot of people's finished socks as well. It'll just be like a fun little wrap up party for the knit along, which I can't believe we are already at the halfway point. And I know some are farther ahead than others. I know some have finished their socks, as we were seeing in the Discord. Some are just casting on. So wherever you're at in the process, just keep going. You've got this. Also, though, don't hurt yourself in the process. Like, don't give yourself an injury trying to get these prizes. But just have fun and take your time. Ask questions if you get stuck, and let's enjoy the rest of our get along. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Thank you so much for watching this live. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the Discord or email me at Jeanette@newwaveKnitting.com or comment below and I'll hit you up. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And I will, oh, one question just rolled in. Um, can you have more than one entry? So unfortunately, no. I mean, other than your main entry of having your finished socks. So you'll finish your socks. Bonus entries include posting on Instagram and creating a Ravelry project. But I explained this, and it's fine if you missed it. But basically, the reason why we aren't doing more than one entry per, like, if you knit more than one sock or pairs of socks, that doesn't get you more entries. And the reason why is because some people might be making very small socks for kids and they'd be able to pump them out quicker. They might be using DK weight socks. So just to make it a little bit more fair for everyone, we're just doing one pair of socks and then the bonus entries. So I hope that answers your question, Bumble Thistle. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the Discord.